Good afternoon. Today is December 12th, 2024. It is approximately 1:30 p.m. This is a newly called meeting of the Texas Low-Level Radioactive Waste Global Compact Committee. We have a very short agenda today, but we also have some commissioners that need to leave by 2:15. So we are going to move as fast as humanly possible.
Brandon, I can go till 2:30 now.
Oh, okay. Thank you for telling me that, Jeff. As many of you are online today, we wanted to remind you that we ask you to keep your microphone on mute. And if you have a reason to speak to the commission, we ask that you use the raise your hand function there at the bottom of the tray, and we will recognize you as quickly as possible. We have, like I said, we have a bare quorum today, but I see Commissioner Morris, Commissioner Sodick from Vermont, who we appreciate coming down. Myself, and then online we have Commissioner Mundy and Commissioner Nyack, who is doing grandma duty. So we appreciate her taking time to break away from her duties to do this. So with that, we have a quorum, but members, I'll remind you that because we have the bare minimum quorum to pass anything, we will all have to vote in the affirmative, just as a reminder. I know we have Commissioner Janeka on with us today too. We appreciate him and all our other friends from TCEQ being with us. Do we have any other elected officials or press members with us?
Commissioner Andre from Andrews County.
Oh, nice to have someone from Andrews County. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for joining us. And Mr. Lashinsky from the state of Vermont. We appreciate you being here.
Raise his hand.
Sure.
Did you want to talk about Lashinsky?
Put Burn up there, not Lashinsky.
Yeah. Here it is. Lashinsky, did you want to speak?
Yes, hi. Tony Lashinsky, State Nuclear Engineer for State of Vermont. I just wanted to thank you guys again for the work that you do, on behalf of the state, and also to pass on a request from the Vermont Nuclear Decommissioning Citizens Advisory Panel. The panel is in the process of learning more about various aspects of reactor decommissioning, and what has come up at its full panel meeting this past Monday was recognition that several panelists would like to know more about how waste from Vermont Yankee is processed once it is received by the Compact Commission site. So this sounds like an opportunity for perhaps Dave Carlson or someone else with the commission to make a presentation to the panel. I can relay upcoming meeting dates. This would not be something that would have to be done immediately, but the panel has meetings scheduled in 2025 for May 12th, September 22nd, and December 8th. So we can certainly coordinate between now and then, but I just wanted to give folks a heads up that request has been made. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Tony, and thank you again for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'll leave that up to Dave and Tony to work with. But if we can be any help, please let us know. So with that,
well, there is a workshop tomorrow.
But that probably would not be. I don't think there'll be a presentation that talks about how WCS
gives a general overview
of
everything. So
so with that, we're through the first three items on our agenda. We're on to item 4, which is the public comment period. This is the period when anyone from the public can make communications to commissioners. If you have specific statements about applications on our agenda, we'd ask you to hold those until we get to that item. But if anyone has a general comment they would like to make, again, please use the raise your hand function. If anyone here in person would like to, just raise your hand. And so if anyone would like to speak, please let us know now. All right, hearing none, we will move on to item 5, which is a report from Mr. Carlton, the waste control specialist, for the middle of the day.
All right, thank you very much. So just to kind of recap our statistics for the first quarter of 2025. So of course in Texas, we are on a fiscal year that starts the 1st of September. And so our first quarter was September, October, and November of 2024. That's the first quarter of 2025 effectively. So during that period, our in-compact disposals were 7,847 cubic feet, 34 curies, and our out-of-compact disposals were just a touch less than that, 7,812 cubic feet and 46,292 curies. So where that puts us at since inception of the facility is in the compact waste facility, we've disposed of 386,503 cubic feet of low-level radioactive waste, with about 662,000 curies to date. So that's about 4.3% of our licensed capacity in cubic feet for that facility. We do talk about constructed capacity, especially since we've put in additional space. Let's see, our phase 1 constructed capacity was 450,000 cubic feet when it was built. Remaining from that is about 18%, so 82,000 cubic feet. Our new phase 2A that's in service is 425,000 cubic feet, and remaining from that is about 406,000 cubic feet. So what that says is today we have 488,000 cubic feet of space that's constructed, ready to go, which is more than we've had even when we first started up the city. So very pleased that we have capacity for quite a long period of time to come. The facility had a solid quarter in the first quarter of the year, so looking at payments that are planned just for the quarter, and these are preliminary, we haven't made these payments yet, that will be made by the end of the month. Just for this quarter, we'll pay $5.6 million to TCEQ. We'll pay just over $1 million to Andrews County for the first quarter of the year. And where that puts us at total since inception, it'll be $90.6 million paid to TCEQ in surcharges and $20 million paid to Andrews County in surcharges, for a grand total of just a bit over $110 million in surcharges since 2024. Let's see, other topics, license renewal, we've been talking about that regularly. There's no new information.
You said since 2020.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, since
2014.
2020. Since opening the facility.
Yeah.
The first payment wasn't made, probably for a period after it opens too, so we probably.
And I think we had all the surcharges in place immediately, and so the structure was in place and we paid quarterly starting to be. I'm sorry, I'll finish. Let's see, so the renewal of the license, nothing new to report there. TCQ is certainly doing a careful review, and they have all the time they need to.
But none of it has anything to do with you at this point forward, right?
Well, when they come out with requests for additional information, we will respond to those requests for additional information.
But until then, you have nothing to do.
We simply respond to their questions at this point, and it's a very detailed document, so they take adequate time to do the reviews. And beyond that, we continue operations. What we do typically over the Christmas holiday is the week that Christmas falls, we actually shut down the site for the full week of Christmas. We tell all of our folks that ship particularly by truck that we can't receive shipments during that week. And it gives our folks a chance to actually have an entire week off with families and not have to worry about radioactive waste for 2 days. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Carlton? Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is the rules report, and I've not to steal Linda Thunder, but she's got a much bigger role about to come up, so I will take this one on for her. We want to again thank both NSSI and WCS for working with us as we've kind of trying to get the management rule or alternatives to the management rule worked out. We heard back recently from NSSI. I think we're on a very good path. I think we will have a lot of progress. Hopefully by the February meeting, we'll have a lot more to report back. But otherwise, we are still working on it, and it is working out well. Not to pile on, but as we get through with this rule issue, we are already identifying some more rule issues that we will be introducing in the next couple of meetings. And there will be more, probably long range, but we will be looking at the rules. One of the things that we never really say, but we should say, is obviously we're completely open to comment about any of the rules. If anyone reviews a rule and says, boy, that's not written well, or boy, that's got mistakes in it, or there's a better way to do that, we would really encourage you, reach out to Stephen and make your thoughts known on that, because obviously we want our rules to be functional and something that are user friendly. So if there's anything about our rules that anyone thinks could be corrected, especially if they're non-controversial corrections, we would really encourage you to reach out and do that. And if there's a better way to skin the cat, we definitely want to do it. So with that is item number 6. Item number 7 is capacity, and we were just discussing chairman of our capacity, and he is in July. So I will take this one on as well. I don't think there's anything new to report on capacity. As Mr. Carlson just said, we are flush with capacity right now, and that's a good feeling, because that means a lot of the anxiety pains we might otherwise feel have really gone away because of the capacity we have. As I'm sure a lot of you know and read, the recent report from Commissioner Fletcher came out about small modular reactors and the potential for them in Texas. And while we don't think now is the time to really worry about the waste they're going to throw off, because I think we're a long way from them, we will be watching that very carefully and trying to lend a helping hand wherever we can, because I do think that it could, if it gets legs and we do start having, I hope we do, a large number of small modular reactors in our compact, we will obviously need to look at the kind of waste they're going to throw off and make sure we have adequate capacity at the site for that, just like we do for all our existing generators with low nuclear waste inside our compact. But that's probably way off, but just so everyone knows, it is something that we are keeping an eye on, and hopefully in the coming weeks, we will maybe even try to reach out to Commissioner Gluckfelty and others and offer our support any way that we can, because we think it's a wonderful idea. We really do hope that it takes off. Yes, sir.
Would that be included in the report that the TCQ is required to periodically, or is that outside of the confines of their?
I think it's an in-compact generator of low-level nuclear waste, so I think it would have to be. And again, I mean, I think we're far enough off that I think it's probably premature to even saying it right now, because I think there's a lot to do before we even get to the top of the waste. So I don't want to jump the gun on it, but I'm trying to remember the last time they put out a report, because it's every 4 years.
And it should be.
I think it's due one.
So I mean, I don't even know if we'll impact the next one, but at some point, so.
Mr. Lishinsky had a question. I think actually Mr. Carlson did today. He asked, did he miss the Curie disposal value that you reported? And he wanted to ask about Curie dispose in cell 1 and cell 2A rather than the calendar order values. This is that thing
When he says, you mean the disposed in 1A versus 2A?
That's what he said. He said, I missed the Curie disposal values that Dave Carlson reported to be posted here. And he said, I'm more interested in the total Curies disposed in cell 1 and cell 2A rather than current calendar order value.
I don't think we have anything from Vermont to 2A at this point. Probably won't. But Tony, if you have specific questions, just send them to me by email. But get them to me. What we said for this quarter for your compact disposal was 34 Curies.
In 1A is not completely full.
No.
So there's space both up in 1A and 2A. Obviously 2A, but there's still almost 100,000 cubic feet?
88,000.
So
So yeah,
Do you track the Curies by cell? Track it by cell.
almost impossible to do.
I'm sure we can calculate it, but it's not something that we are typically generating and reporting. You know, because we know exactly where everything is, because we know exactly what's in everything. yes, certainly that can be recreated. But I'm not aware of any current reports that do that kind of thing. So,
Any other questions on capacity? Before we move on. All right, then we can move on to item 8, which is our consideration and possible action on import applications. We have 2 today. Because I changed the time of the meeting, John Sullivan couldn't attend, so that is my fault, and I apologize to John. But, as a result, unfortunately, Linda drew the black mean, and she now has to present the report to the technical committee, so I will turn it over to her. And our first one is item 8A, which is the import application of GE Hitachi North America.
Let me start off by saying, Mr. Salzman did most of the work by preparing the documents, so he made it quite easy. And there's actually 4 folks on the technical committee. There's Peter Bradford, Brandon, Chairman Hurley, myself, and Mr. Salzman. So we all kind of look at these things and stuff. So, but I guess since you and I, between you and I guess I basically got the black thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, but no problem. There are 2 import petitions before us today and 1 amendment. So the first one, as he just says, the GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy America. This import application was received on October 28, 2024. It's been signed the TLRWPCC number 1046400. So GE Hitachi is a generator requesting authorization to dispose of at a facility. The compact facility operator, WCS, has authorized the disposal of proposed waste from GE Hitachi as Class A unstable demolition debris in both containerized and bulk waste shipments, as indicated in the letter correspondence from the TCEQ dated December 5th, 2024. The volume, this proposed volume is 10 cubic feet with radioactivity of 1 curie. So it's not a very large amount. The applicant has no unresolved violations with any regulatory agency or with us, with the Compact Commission. The Commission has received a letter from WCS recommending the approval of this import application. The applicant will be, the material, the waste will originate from the state of California, which is in the Southwest Compact. The Southwest Compact does require export authorizations, which have been received. So they're ready to go there. The applicant has requested an agreement for this fiscal year. So the proposed agreement, if approved by the Compact Commission, will expire on August 31st, 2025. And the technical committee recommends the approval of this import petition.
Any questions for the technical committee on item 8A, the import application of GE Hitachi North America? I actually have one, and this may be for Dave. Why is this not record eligible? I know it's all A. Is there a reason that it couldn't go to the record?
yeah, it's carried. So it's, a significant amount of
Okay.
radioactive.
So it's higher level.
See the concentration.
Right, the concentration says it has to go.
Okay. Any other questions for the technical committee on this one? Hearing none, we will move on to a motion.
The technical committee recommends moves to approve the import petition from GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy Associates, dated October 28, 2024, permit number 1046400. The volume of the activity will be, the volume of the waste will be 10 cubic feet with 1 curie total activity. The waste will be in the form of Class A, unstable demolition debris in both containerized and bulk waste shipments, as indicated in the letter from the TCEQ. Let's see. The waste will originate from the state of California. The Southwest Compact import authorizations have been received. And the technical committee, continues the motion to approve this with an expiration date of August 31st, 2020.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion about item 8A, the import application of GE Hitachi North America? Hearing none, we move on to a vote. As a reminder, all commissioners in attendance need to vote in the affirmative to have this pass, since there's only 5 of us present. All in favor of the motion to approve the import application of GE Hitachi represented in item 8A on our agenda, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Please reflect the chair voting in the affirmative as well. The motion passes. With that, we can move on to item 8B, which is the import application of Constellation Energy. We'll turn it back over to Linda.
The Compact Commission has received an import petition application from Constellation Energy Generation. The date received was November 6, 2024. It's been assigned in TLORWDCC number 1046500. Constellation Energy is a generator requesting authorization in accordance with the Act. The Compact Waste Facility Operator, Waste Control Specialist, has authorized the disposal of this proposed waste from Constellation Energy. Class C, stable, irradiated hardware consisting of control rod blades and stellite baskets, as indicated in the letter of correspondence from the TCEQ dated December 5th, 2024. The proposed volume, the waste is 120 cubic feet with a radioactivity of 10,000 curies. The applicant has no unresolved violations with regulatory agencies or with this Compact Commission. The Commission has received a letter from WCS recommending approval of this import application. The applicant has indicated the waste will originate from the state of Illinois, which is in the Central Midwest Compact. The Central Midwest Compact does not require export authorizations. The Commission is not aware that the applicant has access to another waste disposal facility for this proposed waste. The applicant has requested an amendment, an agreement this fiscal year, which begins August 31st, 2025. The technical committee recommends the approval of this petition.
And as a quick reminder, this is irradiated hardware, but because of the number of curies, it does not qualify for our contingent curie program because that is 15,000. So, so this is a traditional application, I should call it. But other than that, are there any other questions for the technical committee? Hearing none, move on to a motion.
Motion is made that the import permit application from Constellation Energy dated November 6, 2024, number 104600, be approved. The activity will be 10,000 curies with a volume of 120 cubic feet. The operator is the disposal class will be Class C, stable, irradiated hardware consisting of control rod blades and stellite baskets. Waste will originate from the state of Illinois. The Central Compact is no authorization, export authorization requires. The applicant's agreement with the Compact Commission will extend through the current fiscal year, August 31st, 2025.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion of the import application of Constellation Energy represented in item 8B? All right, agenda.
Can I say something real quick? That should be Central Midwest, if it's coming from Illinois. And Steve, are you the ghost of Christmas present, past or future?
Oh, yeah.
If it's Illinois,
Central Midwest Compact.
okay, I think you just said Central.
I'm sorry,
It's
Central
all right.
Midwest Compact. That is correct. So you need to say.
Trump, no.
Central Midwest Compact.
Trump just wanted to joke.
Thank you.
So I'm hiding behind.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the import application of Constellation Energy? Hearing none, we can move on to a vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Please reflect the chair voting in the affirmative as well. With that, the motion passes. So we are now through with item 8 on our agenda. We now go to item 9, which is the consideration of amendments. And just as a matter of explanation, because we don't do amendments every meeting, the amendment process is much less formal than the import application process, but most amendments do require posting notice and an affirmative vote of the commission. There is a minor amendment process that we've set out in our rule, but it is very limited for items that are really non-substantive, like state of origin of waste. So anytime there's a change in curie count or volume or anything else that's deemed to be substantial, we require a more formal amendment request and then a posting and vote the way we're doing it today. So with that, we will now take up the amendment request of Toxco, and we will turn it back over to Linda.
Yes, the Compact Commission has received an amendment request from Tosco Materials Management Center dated September 25th, 2024. The original request is, so it's assigned at that time the TLL RWDCC number 1042601. To summarize, initially the waste was Class A, Class B, Class C, unstable, low-level radioactive waste. Consisted of resin, metal, dry active waste, sealed sources, depleted uranium shielding, DU lock rods, DU pans, and other DU material for separation and recycle. That has been approved as 440 cubic feet with radioactivity of 30 curies total. So that has already been approved by the Compact Commission. This amendment is simply to add the volume, 2,560 cubic feet. And that this amendment request date was dated December 5th, 2020.
Any questions about the requested amendment from Toxco?
So what you've got here is increasing from 2,500.
It increases it to 3,000 cubic.
What was the original number?
The original activity was 404, the original volume was 404 cubic feet with 30 curies total.
Okay, now there was
The
3,000.
amendment was to add 2,560 cubic
For a total of 3,000.
for a total of,
But they didn't change the curies, right?
Correct.
they did not.
It's just volume.
And do we know
Why?
why?
I can answer that. As I understand, WCS folks, they had an agreement last year that the commission granted, and they were unable to deliver, or for some reason could not deliver on that. They gave us their original request that was agreed at the August meeting in Vermont. You granted it, but they didn't realize they had not already disposed, so now they need to dispose of what they expected to dispose of last year, and they asked for this increase to 3,000 cubic.
Which is not uncommon.
And the point is they had it before, they had permission before, and so they're just carrying it forward.
So they had to increase their amount for this year because their agreement expired on August 31st. Under that previous.
They had it last.
They did.
And we just.
I'd also point out, Commissioner, that if you didn't know, request they asked for a change to origin. We've already granted the minor amendment. The adjourn heard the approved. That has already been changed.
And when it says all states and territories, that's all states and territories except the state of Texas and the state of Vermont, because those are compact states. So we obviously have an authority over to generate those things. Any other questions? I think we can move on to a motion.
Motion is made that the import permit amendment request for Tosco Materials Management Center, TLL RWDCC number 1042601, be approved to increase the volume by 2,560 cubic feet.
There's a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. Purpose of second. Amendment request for Tosco Materials item 7A. Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the amendment request for Toxco Materials, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Shows the chairman voting in the affirmative as well. With that, the motion passes. We are through with item 9. We're now on to item 10. That's the chairman's report, and I will be very brief. Our communication with other compacts in a little form, what I really wanted to know here was We have a forum meeting coming up in our own state, and it is on
April 9th and 10th.
April 9th and 10th. We will have our meeting in conjunction with that forum meeting. And it will be in Odessa, let's say Midland, Odessa. And there'll be a tour of WCS's facility
And you're
And
Urenco
on the 8th.
on the 8th. And Urenco is the facility right across the border into New Mexico. So it'll be something you want to mark on your calendars. I think it will be very informative. And who's the keynote speaker? Do we know?
We don't have one.
Oh, okay.
agenda
Yeah.
after this.
And then after the April meeting, where's the next one?
It's in Baltimore. Back to Baltimore. Yeah.
This is a very cool location for me. So, if you're interested in those, please contact Stephen or even reach out to Sean. He probably won't respond, but you can try.
I deserve that.
But obviously, we continue to have regular communication with the other compacts. I think as a result really of Dan's efforts, the unity of the compacts and the communication between them have really improved in the last several years, and I think it's leading to some really good results. I think we are finally finding kind of our footing on a national basis to deal with some of our federal agency partners and address some of the issues that really impact all of us. So we're very excited with the direction of the forum and the flow of information among the various compacts. There is some turnover in the leadership of some of the compacts, so I think it's a good thing, and I think there's going to be a lot of fresh new blood with a lot of energy to go get done a lot of things that we've been talking about for a long time. So we're excited about that. On the legislative, we will continue to closely monitor all the filing of bills that is currently open. Thus far, we've seen nothing that really impacts our operation or nuclear issues at all. As I mentioned earlier, there is the really impressive report from Commissioner Blackfield recently came out about SMRs that does call for some legislative action. We will monitor closely to see if those things take flight and we actually get bills filed on that. We hope there is. But the other obvious legislative issue that bores everyone to tears, but it's very important to us, is our appropriation, which we will continue to bird dog. We will have a hearing in front of the Appropriations and Senate Finance committees, and we will keep you updated as those go along, and if we need your help with those. Obviously, our appropriation is very important for our operation, because we don't get to work unless we have the money to do it. So we will stay on top of that as well. And with that, I think that is all I had to report on the chairman's report. So I will turn it over to Stephen for the executive director's report, which is item 11.
Only two items for you this time. First is the public education workshop, which is tomorrow. Hopefully everybody here is attending. It's present, and we should have some more. Looking forward to doing that tomorrow. It's at 9 a.m. at the Doubletree Suites by Hilton, right down the street from us on 15th Street. They'll be upstairs in one of the ballrooms with everybody. You don't actually need to register. We'll welcome anybody. But it'll be from 9 to 1 tomorrow. We'll have some pastries, some fruit, coffee, tea, juice, all kinds of good stuff. And we're gonna have some goat fruit lunch. Since we'll go 9 to 1. We look forward to it. TCQ will be there as well. Some folks from WCS and also the Department of State Health Services, and seeing you there tomorrow. If you got any questions about the public education workshop, be more than happy to.
And I will chime in and say, this is an important issue. We have had these in the past that have been effective. We want to continue having them. And maybe most importantly, the legislature wants us to have them, which shows us we need to do it. So we're very happy to do this.
Last thing I was gonna add was that I made a change this week to the import application forms, so it's commissioner as well. One of the things we added earlier this year was that the current location of the waste will be on the import application forms. The way I have that in the form, it was added in with the waste description and not a separate line item in the form. And it's required as part of filling out the application for the form. So it just makes it more clear. There seemed to be some confusion in some folks in filling out their import application that they didn't know was the current location of the waste. So we made that very minor change, but we'll make sure you're aware of that, and also that the applicants might be able as well. Any other questions about that? Or the form itself? Should be happy to answer that one.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Steve. The next last item is future commission meetings. As we mentioned, we have our April meeting in Odessa where we're gonna have a forum meeting, but our next meeting is actually February 6th here. We will have that meeting. We didn't know if we were going to, but now we have some applications and some more coming in. The deadline.
January 2nd, the day after New Year's.
So if you have an application, please get it in before then if you want it heard in February. We're not sure where we're gonna be here yet, because the legislature will be in session, but it will be somewhere in the city of Austin. So we will get back to you on that. After that, the next meeting is not until July, which is again here. Stephen and I have talked about the idea of maybe going on the road somewhere else. We haven't been to DFW in 8 years, 10 years maybe. So we might try to schedule a meeting up there. We might also try to go other locations. So if you all have any ideas about where we should go or what you think would be a good location, please let us know. Our theory there is that we kind of need to get to the different regions of the state, make ourselves available for anyone who wants to really address us and doesn't want to do it online. So that's the reason we go to Andrews, and we go to Vermont. So we kind of think we should also go other locations here in Arnold. So if anyone has any ideas, please let us know. Yeah, and then we will also be looking and talking to Dick and Peter and Deborah about the Vermont trip, which generally happens either in August, September, or October. And so we will once again start looking at that. Because we will be meeting in Odessa in April, we may or may not go to Andrews this year, because that's effectively our Andrews trip. So we might have a little more flexibility getting to Vermont as well. So we will be talking about that and keeping you apprised of it. Again, before we get to our last item, I want to remind everybody about what Steven said, which is the workshop tomorrow. I'm very excited about it. I hope it's informative. I hope it starts a dialogue and an ongoing communication with all of our, interest, or what we're trying to always stakeholders. Because I think it's what makes our process better and helps, everyone's lives be a little bit easier if we have an ongoing dialogue about the way we do our business, what we expect from people, and then how also we can help them. Sometimes I think people think that we're here to get in everyone's way, but I think what you'll find after tomorrow is we're actually here to try to facilitate as much as we can as well. So with that, we are on to item 13, which is our motion to adjourn. I'm sorry, Dick, did you have something?
Yeah, just before we get to adjournment, I simply wanted to say that we live in Vermont. You don't hear an awful lot about SMRs. When you live in Texas, you get, my understanding is you hear a lot more about SMRs as time goes along. And it would be helpful, I think, to me, probably not as much to Peter because he's kind of on top of these things we're not. If we could have kind of regular, just kind of be aware of where that the SMR development business stands and what the implications might be for the WCS for the facility as we go along. I'm not suggesting technically or anything like that. Just kind of keep it in mind that I think we ought to be kind of aware of where that's headed.
That's a good point, and it actually reminds me, I think I have to give credit to Brian Christian suggested this. Maybe somebody else said it's not, I'll go ahead and give you credit anyway. We may ask, and maybe as soon as our February meeting, if we don't have a big agenda, to have someone from Commissioner Blackfelt's staff come and maybe give us a briefing on that report and the SMRs and kind of answer some of the questions that you're talking about. Because I do think, you say we all know about it. I don't think any of us know enough about it at this point.
Well, I was interested that when you guys say SMRs, you're talking, so one kind of SMR is apparently the size of a 600 megawatt. I realize that most of them they're talking about smaller ones, but we never considered Of course, we're a small state, but we never considered Vermont Yankee that time, but.
And, Commissioner Gladwell was actually studying at the end of this month. But I can contact you there if you see.
Yeah, I think that would be very beneficial, especially because I don't think the agenda will be very long, so we'll have time, and that'll be a good use of our time. It'd be a way to justify everybody coming to Austin one more time. But thank you for that, Dick, because I do think it's something that, I think there's a lot of unknowns, obviously, and I think it's something that, like I said earlier, we're talking about a pretty long-term issue, and that I don't think we're gonna have SMRs dotting our state next. So I do think it's something that we want to take ahead of us, but we also need to know that how the issues may not be answered.
Well, being the wind, there'll be people talking about what ifs and so on. I mean, those of us who are old enough to remember the beginning of building nuclear plants, you know, that stuff grows like topsy. Everybody wants to know. Everybody has theories about what the implications are. It just seem to be, at least in the gossip loop or whatever.
But I will say this, and I hope this statement is true. I think we may be living in the beginning of the next nuclear renaissance in our state, maybe our nation. As our energy needs continue to grow, and everybody realizes you gotta find it somewhere. I think it is an opportunity for nuclear to have a bit of a rebirth, which I think is both good public policy and smart business. So I hope it happens. So it's a good thing for us to stay on top. With that, we can move on to item 13, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
I said.
All in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very, very much. That was a record. 42 minutes. We appreciate everybody online.
Would it have to be unanimous to adjourn as well?
Yeah.
I've never heard it go.